Hello, good afternoon, and welcome to the Pendulum, coming to you live on Lagos Television. I am Ajibola Ojeshola. This afternoon on the program, we'll be looking at the state of the nation, and this will cut across that call for the creation of state police. We all know that the bill is before the National Assembly now, and they're trying to do all the needful so that at the end of the day, the creation of state police service will be able to take care of our insecurity problem and, of course, douse the tension surrounding those who are apprehensive as to how the governors are going to handle the creation of state police. We'll also talk about the PFIPC corruption saga and the allegation against the Chief of Staff to Mr. President, as well as the rescue mission of those who were abducted in Orire local government area of Oyo State. That's the lineup for today. It's going to be a full house today. We have a combination of human rights activists, a politician, and a host of other guests on the program today. We'll take a very short break at this moment to bring you the summary of some of the trending news in the polity. Stay with us. You are still on to the Pendulum, a weekly current affairs program where we discuss trending issues in the country. And this afternoon on the program, I did say before that break, I'll be looking at the state of the nation as we speak, and that will take us through the creation of state police, the PFIPC corruption saga, and of course, those who were abducted in Orire local government that were rescued this week by the security agencies of the country. I have three gentlemen on the program this afternoon. To my immediate left is Honorable Muftau Egberongbe, former member House of Reps. It's a pleasure to have you.
Good afternoon.
We also have in the building Barrister Jiti Ogunye. It's a pleasure to have you as well.
It's my pleasure.
And joining us via Zoom, all the way from the Federal Capital Territory, is Olanrewaju Suraju, Chairman, Human and Environmental Development Agenda. It's a pleasure to have you also.
Thank you for having me.
Okay, let's start with that PFIPC corruption saga. Now the guy in question, he was arrested on Tuesday in Osun State. But people have raised so many questions surrounding this matter, saying that even though if the guy is a con man, they are expecting Mr. President to also take some actions. Of course, he did take some action, asking the ICPC to investigate this matter. But at the same time, some are also calling for the resignation of the Chief of Staff to Mr. President, Barrister Jiti Ogunye. What do you make of all this situation, and how do you think it should be, speaking from the angle of the law?
Thank you. This matter broke into the open in June. But many Nigerians, once it broke into the open, never knew that the matter started way back. And the matter became public, paradoxically, through the action of the Chief of Staff. The Chief of Staff, as a prelude to the accusation the man made when he addressed a press conference, published or had to be published a disclaimer, a public disclaimer on the guy. That was how the matter first became public. And it was in reaction to that public disclaimer that Prince Adeyemi did what he did. Until that time, he stayed quiet and he wanted the matter not to even catch public attention. Why? Because he had been charged to court in October. Before he was charged to court, he had been detained for 23 days. Nobody on his behalf addressed the media then that he was facing a risk, that power was associating him, and that being a weak man he was being smothered. He never said anything. He didn't even want the public to know. Why?
Until recently.
Until recently. Why? My surmise is that the architecture of fraud that he had entrenched, the snare he drew had not caught any big fish because it was extensive. People are talking about a letter, allegedly written by the chief of staff to the president, which was forged. Mm-hmm. That's not the only thing. The man then forged also a statute. So with that purported letter and the statute in the name of that fake agency, as if it was a gazette, he penetrated the office of the head of service with those two documents. Mm-hmm. He penetrated the office of the SGF, he penetrated the budget office, he penetrated accountant general office. And so when he was charged to court, he kept it quiet. But it was not arraigned because on the first day, he said his lawyer was not around and that he could not be arraigned without legal representation. He escaped the first day. The matter was adjourned. The second time, he was in court, but he said that he was ill, that he could not stand trial. The matter was adjourned to third time. The judge didn't sit. The fourth time, he alleged that his lawyer was sick. The fifth time was that 2 days ago or thereabout.
When the warrant was issued.
When the warrant was issued, and on that occasion, he had gone to the media and he had said he was going to be killed. He generated an alibi why he should not be around. So essentially, you're dealing with a con man and a fugitive from justice. I've seen a lot of,
sentiment, reactions.
We are on the verge of an election. A lot of people say, chief of staff and all that. Given what I know now, I think that apart from what the man did, he had also played on the intelligence of Nigerian people. And many people are just jumping all about, talking about what they didn't even know.
Okay.
Quite frankly.
All right.
That's what I know at this stage.
Okay, Suraj, what's your own take on this whole matter?
Well, thank you very much. I think I would also want to premise my intervention on what has just been said by Barrister Jiti Ogunye and clearly make it also abundantly loud that this is not just an embarrassment that has been caused to the country or that you're seeing as a matter of a situation of an individual. But this is actually an embarrassment of the country itself before the Committee of Nations. As you can imagine, where the purported personality, it is not now even an institution. It is not now a collective of people that work from outside. It has just been singled to an individual, restricted also limited to an individual who had the temerity and also played on the gullibility or vulnerability or the compromised nature of the government institution to convene meetings with ambassadors. Ambassadors are representatives of their country. These are like the presidents of the country in any of the countries where they are designated. To have meetings with them and discuss national issues of interest and international level of that nature. This is where the system not only needs to feel embarrassed, heads should have been ruling by now. And this is not just even the head of the chief of staff alone, because of the process that it went through. These are people even within the civil service who went through the process of appointing or designating or assigning staff to that office, such to the extent that it finds is a budget line and headline, even without even money allocated to the agency in the national budget. I understand, and that let us not pretend about that. If you understand how the Nigerian budget system works, the parliamentarians really sometimes don't need the executive to insert some of those budget line in the budget, and that is why you would see under the budget of the Ministry for Almajiri, you would see budget line of road construction for Ogun State, inserted under the Almajiri board or agency budget line, because the parliamentarians, when they go berserk over this, their usual constituency projects, it is to fish for agencies that would be willing or ready to play ball and accommodate those projects. So that can actually happen also with the National Assembly. But the fact that this agency attracted the recognition to the extent of its also relationship and all the rest of that with the executive, it goes beyond just ADM. So even if ADM is indicted today, the system still needs, and that is where I think the president also seems to have lacked the understanding of the depth of the matter. It is not just about ICPC investigating the matter. It's about an inquiry that will require the total reform of the civil service system and the presidency over this particular matter.
All right. Fortunately, we have a parliamentarian in the building this afternoon. So when it comes to the oversight function of the National Assembly, be it Senate or the Green Chamber, how does it work? And what does this whole saga say about the porosity of our system for it to have been so easy for ADM to have penetrated that much?
Well, everywhere the world over, you find individuals like this, people of shady characters. What is important and what I think is the onerous is to put in place adequate, ideal, various institutions that will check the excesses of people of questionable character like this. The personality of this man can be seen from the way he has been evasive of court processes. And I think that ICPC, I want to believe that ICPC should be allowed to do its job. We should emphasize on our institutions and where there are shortcomings, where they need to be strengthened. We need to get them strengthened, but we should allow the ICPC to do its job. That's my take on this. Institution, various institutions will check excesses like this. Thank you.
Okay, then earlier I mentioned the budgeting process of the National Assembly. How was he able to outsmart members of the Assembly? Well, or you believe he's working in connivance with somebody within?
Well, I was at the National Assembly when this whole saga.
But you've been a member before.
Yes, and there's always a human factor in some of these things, and I won't be able to brief for anybody. I can only speak for myself and as an individual. But like I want to emphasize that there is always a human factor in some of these operations. No matter how good your regulations or laws can be, the human factor still comes to bear.
Pastor Jiti, do you agree with that?
Yes, I agree. But let me just add, and I think that that's information. Unfortunately, I hope that when the investigation has been ordered by the president, directing the ICPC to conduct that investigation
within 30 days.
Yeah, that investigation will be holistic, and all this will be brought out. But given what I know, it is good to quickly state that as weak as we think the system is, it was the system that found him out. How? Look, on the 16th of October last year, 2025, the Ministry of Foreign Affairs, following that infamous meeting and interaction with
diplomat
that he had, flagged this off and said something is wrong here. And in two separate letters, called the attention of the Office of National Security Advisor and the Office of the Chief of Staff to the President to read, asking those two authorities to clarify the status of the man. And pronto, the Chief of Staff wrote a letter back to that ministry on the 17th of October that, look, this guy is unknown, he's fake. And not only that, the Chief of Staff petitioned the DSS and the police that the guy should be investigated and fished out. It was that petition that led to the man being arrested. Okay? But before that, the man from 2024 had started operating. Generated a letter, generated a law, approached the officers that have said and all that.
Even though he never met the chief of staff one-on-one.
No! So, and he started doing what he was doing. Luckily, however, and that's why I say that the true intention of the man should be discovered as we speak. All the talk about, the man had 300 staff, and yes, the head of service gave the man a waiver to recruit his own staff and draw down on the recurrent budget that had been given to him, 300 million, but he never recruited one staff. And the 800 million capital project out of the 1.3 billion, he never got or assessed one. So what my summary, I say, is that, okay, what's going to be the benefit? The man wanted to create a very grandiose subterfuge of being embedded in government. If the man is interacting with the banks, asking, oh, my vote has not come, give me 5 billion. Bank will do that and all that. He's just laid the foundation for the kind of unimaginable fraud he was going to perpetrate when he was found out. And so if you are going to find out whether an agency of government really exists, where are you going to go? Due diligence. You go to the SDF office, he's penetrated there, and he was given an office. You go to the head of service, you go to the office of the Director General, you go to the DG budget. He traversed this entire structure. And they were dealing with him, thinking that it was true. So the question,
were there enemies within?
That's the question. The question would then be, is this a case of willful culpability and connivance or innocent negligence? That's why I'm saying that. So, and I think that investigation will reveal this. But Nigeria, we are where we are. The trust in government has broken down almost irretrievably. So when something happens, people
are already suspicious.
Say that it must be so. He must be guilty. Yes, he wanted to collect 100 million. So you are not going to win the argument
against the people.
Against cynicism. You are not going to ever win that argument. But given what I have seen, and I'm saying this emphatically, you deal with a man who, as an afterthought, had to accuse someone of trying to kill him, of trying to do also, when that same person had instigated his investigation, he kept quiet, and then at the tail end of it, he then said, this man that is still, people are still complaining about, let us publish a disclaimer. And it was that disclaimer that I really feel he was trying to react to by saying all those
sort of things.
Whatever. But as I said, investigation will really reveal it. And if it's a case of willful culpability or connivance, I think that the big stick must be wielded.
Okay.
All the people that have been talking to us say, no, let him resign. It goes beyond that. In the entire chain, if I must tell you, save that letter that was forged, bearing the signature of the chief of staff, and now it's now common knowledge that the chief of staff office does not issue a letter of appointment. Okay? Save that letter.
SGF.
Yes, save that letter. The man interacted more officially with all the other officers, head of service,
SGF,
SGF, Director General, Director of Budget, with tons and tons of exchange of documents between them, not the chief of staff. And it
wasn't discovered.
Okay. Until the chief of staff said, there's something, but I didn't write any letter. I didn't do this, and then started the police investigation. So my submission is that yes, trust in government is totally obliterated. But on this occasion, it is not a whistleblower that discovered this man. It was not investigative journalist. By comparison, the Uche Unaji story,
the
Premium Times worked on it for 2 solid years. So it was discovered by the media. But this one was discovered by government itself. Okay. And so I think that those who just want to jump to conclusion can then give these guys a little benefit of that and say that let's get to the root of this matter and let's find out instead of just
hopefully we'll get to the root of the matter in 30 days. So let's move away completely from this saga of PFIPC and move to what happened in Orire local government area of Oyo State. Fortunately, those children and their teachers have been rescued by the security agencies of the federal government. And then we have the governor of Oyo State, Seyi Makinde, calling on the UN to come and investigate this particular matter. Suraj, do you think the step taken by the governor of Oyo State, Seyi Makinde, is in the right direction, even though the Senate had criticized his intention?
Well, I mean, I'm kind of a bit worried, because I think people are just too political in many of the things that would happen. The governor Sheyi Makinde, as a governor of Oyo State, has the capacity to also conduct that level of investigation. I mean, or inquiry about circumstances that gave rise to that level of kidnap or situation leading to the kidnap. Is part of the governors forum where the governors could have done that, and they are yet to do anything meaningful around it. We've had this level of even worse situation around kidnap happening in many of the other states and for ages. So that is not to say that it's something to be tolerated, but where you will have this in the name of opposition, I mean, internationalizing local issues and domestic issues that can be handled at the domestic level. Is a member of the police council, is also a member of the National Executive Council. That would have used several mechanisms. And unfortunately, what I think I would want to support him around, because the president has not also been able to possibly muzzle the political will to use other possible available mechanisms to probe the security votes of the governors. It is what I think the international committee needs to start asking questions about from the governors, what they have actually done with the security votes in spite of all the kidnaps that are happening in their state. I don't think is the appropriate thing. It's for me more or less like politicizing that kidnap, by opening another chapter of saying and dragging us into that debate that would likely not actually produce any result and is likely to distract us from the substance of getting to the root of how that kidnap was sustained for 56 days with those people still in captivity and what happened or went on behind the scenes. So I would want to see more of politics than a strategic move.
All right, Honorable Berenwe, some of these issues, aside from what happened in Oyo State, we have also had different security challenges in different parts of the country. And now we have the establishment of state security bill before members of the National Assembly. Is it coming at the right time? And then what are those modalities that you think should be put in place to avoid governors as being insinuated in different quarters from abusing the creation of state police?
Well, the incident of security and insecurity happens at local level. I mean, at each local government of the states, and I want to think that our local chiefs, bailiffs, traditional rulers should be involved in the architecture of security. And this is the reason why this bill is a welcome one. Security has always been on the exclusive list, and with this bill, we are having it, finding it on the concurrent list that will afford states to have state police and I think coordinate security activities at the state level. And one curiosity that comes to mind each time we discuss, we highlight instead of insecurity in the state is in our nation is dumping everything at the doorstep of the president, as if it is the president that will come and police, give intelligence report on architecture of your local government or your local. You begin to ask what exactly are the state government or governors doing. With the various reforms of this administration, we call that the enormity of funds at their disposal, and we want to ask what exactly are they
doing with the money?
There are so many social infrastructures that can be put in place to stem insecurity in our nation. Good roads, street lights that are done with CCTV cameras, creating jobs, creating new cities from the hinterland, even from these forests, and so many more are some of those things that are expected from our governors. So we won't begin to look at the reckless statement from the governor of Oyo State. And the investigation is so sorted for was not sorted when we were still looking for the children, which is very, very important. And I don't know why we needed such when we are be able to
rescue them.
Rescue them. So you look at the timing, you look at the statement, you look at the pronouncement, and the intended. You see that it's not genuine. So what I'm saying in effect is that it's high time we start asking our governors, what are you doing in your locality? Okay. What are you doing in your local government as far as instead of security are concerned? And as an addendum to that too, the local government should be strengthened to assist the states instead of policing their area. So they are very close to the people, they are very near to the people, they understand the architecture of their area, and they can supply adequate intelligence information to the police, both at the state and at the central.
Okay, I'll still bring back this question to Barrister Jiti, but we need to go on a very short break at this moment to bring you that soundbite from the House of Reps regarding the creation of state police. Then when we come back, I'll be taking this question to Barrister Jiti. Stay with us.
This bill builds on the significant work already done in this regard by the House of Representatives and incorporates additional safeguards to ensure that the creation of a dual policing structure to address our nation's evolving national security challenges can be achieved quickly and effectively to the benefit of all Nigerians. The proposed legislation is a critical component of our administration's strategy to reorganize Nigeria's security architecture to better protect our citizens, and I am confident that the House of Representatives will act quickly to consider and pass it.
That was the Right Honorable Speaker of the House of Representatives, Tajuddin Abbas, reacting to the establishment of State Police Services Bill. Now the House has decided to dump its own and, of course, embrace that of Mr. President, which is more encompassing. So my question for Barrister Jiti Ogunye at this moment is the issue that Suraju raised concerning the security votes of our governors. And when you look at the federal police as we speak today, they lack so many things. They buy their uniforms, they buy their boots, and now we want to create another layer of security, of policing rather, in the country. Do you think that is ideal for the kind of problem that we are facing now, or we should stay as one indivisible entity of a country and fund the federal police well?
Look, a unitary police in a federal state is an anomaly. It's an anomaly. I'm not even talking about the size of Nigeria, and diversity, whether that unitary police that we call the Nigeria Police Force, because a unitary police in a federal state, can cater to the needs of Nigerians. Too often you hear politicians say that politics is local. Security is local, my friend. It's local. We are not even going far enough. Look, we have a federal government, which is our central government or national government. We have a state government, we have a local government. They are called governments. It is an anomaly for you to have a government that will not have a certain measure of enforcing its own laws at its own level. I'm not the one that christened these layers government. They are called government. And so every government at whatever level must have some measure of securing its territory and policing the people. Okay? Elsewhere in the United States, police, even universities have their own police. So I don't get the argument. So my submission is that anybody that is still arguing against state police now must be thoroughly examined, whether he knows what he's talking about. Look, we can deal with the issue of adequate provisioning, not only for state police, but also for federal government. Okay? If the argument against state police is that, oh, they may not well be funded, we are going to create a crime organization now, it will be a menace to the people and all that and all that. Let's go by this Lagos example. When LASMA was created, many people have forgotten this. Do you know that the Federal Road Safety Corps will not allow LASMA
to operate then?
One Major General Anania, then the head of Federal Road Safety Commission, was at war with the interim leadership of LASMA. The gentleman who was the head then, I forgot his name now, Thor Randall, was even taken and detained at the police station just for heading LASMA in this Lagos. Now look at the work LASMA has done since then. Why are we afraid of unbundling government? Why are we afraid of, having devolution of powers?
Okay, but
so
many people just hold your thoughts because we need to let Suraju go. On this issue of state creation of state police, Suraj, what will be your final remark before we allow you go?
No, I think it is actually a very good move that just like Barrister Jiti Ogunye already espoused, this is actually an anomaly in the federal system. I mean, the federating unit has not only just the duty to enforce the law, there has to be there are federal crimes that needs to be prosecuted by the federal authority. And there are state crimes that would need to also be prosecuted by those police in the state. And the same thing to supervise and also the local government, counties in the US, states, and at the same time, before you talk of the federal police system, you have them also having at their own different level. That is where you have the federating unit. And that you will see that in many of the other countries where the prosecution of crime and policing of the community, beyond even the law, is also the understanding of the local content. And you will see, I listened to the garrison commander when he was addressing the press after the Orire victims were released. And he said they had to work with the local vigilantes, and because these are the people who understand the terrain. And that's why sometimes it's extremely difficult for the police to resolve crimes, because they don't even understand what the issues are many times, and how people get to relate and also navigate the area. It is not only just also sufficient that we say we want to have the police. There must be that funding mechanism that must be well clearly thought out and defined, which is not subjected to the whims and caprices of the president. The president is too powerful. And I'll use the example of the police council. The president is just one out of the 36 other members of the council. He wields just the power. The governors sometimes are just not only weakling, they are also compromised because they are not actually doing the right thing in their domain, because they also have the resources. The federating units contribute to the federal pulse that is used to fund the federal police, but they don't assert the authority. They are more comfortable with the system that does not also pry into how the local resources in the states and local government are mismanaged to the extent that they don't want to also challenge, the federal system on how it's managing the policing in terms of the funding and the control. And this needs to change. The power to the governors in terms of the state police must not be too strong and powerful to the extent that it's not going to be subjected to that oversight from other mechanisms that will be outside the control and power of the governor. Otherwise, it can become a tool in theirs, but that should not be a reason for us to start also undermining the urgency for
the need
not
for the
only
creation of state
increased policing of the country,
All
but
right.
also having those police system and mechanisms at the state level.
All right, we must thank you very much, Olanrewaju Suraju, Chairman, Human and Environmental Development Agenda, for finding time to be with us on the program.
Always my pleasure. Thank you for having me.
All right, let me take it back to you now, Barrister GT. Those issues being raised about the abuse from governors and funding, how do we address it? I'm sure you must have gone through the State Police Services Establishment Bill. Does that take care of those insinuations and fears?
It's still work in progress. As we speak, the Constitution itself is a work in progress. Otherwise, we'll be having these amendments and alterations and all that. You know, the best intentions can be woven into a new legislation. But operationalizing that legislation will then make more vivid the fault lines that may be there, in spite of the best intentions and the intent of the lawgiver. Now, safeguards must be built into the law. And one of the things I have recommended is that at the state level, in constituting the police service
Commission.
board, no,
Okay, board.
just board. Board should be preferred, you know, to at
commission.
national level we have a commission.
Okay.
Board. So just to make clear, in constituting the police service board of the state, there should be sectoral input that will be the parameters for constituting or composing the body. For example, the governor shouldn't be given the liberty to just handpick those who should be. There should be representative of labor, the academia, youth,
MBA.
interface, exactly, so that those people will then have to put forward their nominee before appointment. That's a way of whittling down
The powers.
the overarching power of the governor to deploy the police the way he wants. And that board will be made responsible for the issue of certain control, promotion, provisioning, and so on and so forth. And I think that with this and the guarantee that there's going to be judicial review, the court is there to enforce the fundamental rights of the law. So we're not going to have a monster, as some people are thinking we're going to have. Okay? So if anybody is detained beyond the period of whatever, the court will be there to enforce its fundamental, as it is the case even right now.
With the federal police.
With guarantees and safeguards, I think that will be home and dry.
Okay, Honorable Muftara Ogberungbe, we know the way our politicians, your friends, your colleagues, the way they behave in this country. What will be your own final take as we wrap up this show this afternoon concerning the creation of state police, funding, and the fears being expressed in different quarters?
There is no law anywhere in the world over that is adequate. It is the human factor. We should have a total reorientation of our minds and ensure that this thing works. No law anywhere the world over that is adequate or that is perfect. We should be open-minded. If we tend to begin to have the fear about the state, the governor's command of the state policing, we can as well begin to have the same fear with the federal. Are we not the same Nigeria? We should have the fear that the federal government, the presidency will muster the central policing as we are. So it's just like Barrister has just said here, the judiciary is at the helms of for the common man and the masses.
To serve as checks.
As checks and balance. And leaning towards the body identified to that various sectoral, including traditional rulers too,
Exactly.
can have an adequate board
representation.
Let's have a state of mind. Let's just be open-minded to some of these things. I think that's majorly the errors. And in addition to the local government should have full autonomy. Let's have full autonomy so that the local government, like he said, they are government.
Okay.
State government, federal government, local government, and.
All right, that's a fine place to end this conversation this afternoon on the state of the nation. We've spoken about the creation of state police, the PFIPC allegation, corruption saga rather, and of course the rescue mission of those who were abducted in Orire local government area of Oyo State. We must thank you very much, Barrister Jiti Ogunye, for finding time to be on the program. And of course, the friend of the House, Honorable Muftau Egberungwe, former member, House of Representatives. Thank you for your time on the show.
Thank you.
That's the Pendulum this week. We thank you for watching. We'll be back at 3 p.m. next Thursday to discuss another trending issues in the polity. Thank you for watching, and bye for now.